posts into the progress channel. And if you're not a contributor, but you're interested in contributing, it's a great place to just get a heartbeat on what's going on in the DAO. It's a great place to just see what's happening, and you know good to just like find work if you want to get involved and see how you can support some ongoing activities. So yeah, um, maybe we can just do a couple quick announcements before we get started. Or Mitchie, I don't know if I want to steal your thunder either.
No, go right ahead.
Okay. We had a proposal pass just yesterday, which is a continuation of Citizens and Teams platform. So mostly supporting the work to get it to basically merged on domain and allow for anyone to apply and kind of develop that sort of um, I don't want to call it like a leads list, but it's kind of like an application process if you want to become a team or you want to become a citizen. And yeah, basically going live with the current network. We're still actively onboarding citizens and teams, so that's been moving forward. And yeah, when by the time we go live with it, we want to have kind of that first seed really built out. We're aiming for somewhere around 10 organizations, which we already have the commitments for, and we're getting them through the gate, and then about 25 or so citizens. We feel like that's a good little goal for us to get something out in front of the world by our second astronaut launch. So looking forward to that. But yeah, thanks for approving that, guys, and we'll keep that ball rolling. And yeah, in other news, the other active vote is the election. So that has 5 more days going. Thank you, Jiggly Jams, for he just got ranked choice voting working also within the app. So you can head over to Snapshot or to the MoonDAO app and vote there if you have stake Mooney. So yeah, it we've got some good participation there already. I think I want to say 27 votes. So yeah, and 5 more days. So we'll
I just
I'm
saw
excited.
quick shout out to Tudam. Apparently, he's the one who was partially at least responsible for that, just based on Jiggly's update.
Cool. Yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks to both of them. So yeah, get out and vote if you haven't already. So yeah. All right. We'll get started. I guess in 3 minutes. Yeah. In other space news, there's a great video from Everyday Astronaut that just dropped this morning, with Jeff Bezos giving a tour of the facilities that they have down in Florida. Me and a few other people from MoonDAO were lucky enough to be invited and shown around down there too. And yeah, it's worth checking out, mostly because I think it's the first time that something like that's been made public. So they've been working on New Glenn. It's been a bit of an open secret for a while, but you actually get to really see it up close and all the manufacturing processes and everything that they're doing there. So pretty cool if you haven't, you know, checked in on what Blue Origin is doing in a minute. But yeah, they're pretty serious about their moon plans, and um, yeah, so it's cool to see what they've been building. Um, yeah, I feel like Ryan is best at space news. If Ryan, you want to join up here and you got anything else that's happening in the space ecosystem that you want to share?
Um, I'm excited to check out the video from Everyday Astronaut. Practically a movie. It's like an hour and 20 minutes long or something like that. But um, yeah, obviously the Starliner astronauts are still up there. Last I saw, they were kind of going to have an update there, I think, in the next week or two about what the decision is. But
Yeah,
yeah,
they're in a bit of a bind, huh?
the
um,
3-hour tour, and they were going to go up for a week. They're going to be up there for 8 months.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure they're happy about it. They get to spend more
Yeah.
time in space, so yeah.
There's that Fram 2 mission that was just enough of a cool new the crewed launch, but a polar orbit. First
Oh
time
yeah, that was a cool one too, huh?
by that Chinese crypto billionaire.
Yeah, crypto guy. I guess he made his money through
Coin mining, I
doing a
guess.
mining platform or a staking platform for Bitcoin,
Yeah.
and now he's become a polar explorer. Pretty cool.
Cool. Yeah. And of course, there's the Polaris Dawn mission coming up in the next, 2 weeks or so? Targeting like the
Yeah.
26th of August.
Oh wow, that's coming up quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had another cool mission, first commercial spacewalk.
Iman can high five them from space.
Hopefully, huh? Timing works out.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're at the 10-minute mark, so we'll get started here. Mitchie, if you want to kick us off.
Sure. So yeah, we're actually doing something a little different today, but something that we'd like to continue to do going forward. Basically, we have a special guest, someone who you've probably seen around our Discord lately. He's been pretty active. Invite him up to the stage here. So yeah, Quinn in the audience. He recently attended um, the Mars Society conference, and he's just going to give us a recap of his experiences there, what his insights were, and yeah, looking forward to hearing from him. So, Quinn, I've invited you up. I'm not sure actually what what it looks like from your end when you jump up here, but as soon as we get him up on stage,
Quinn just needs
we'll
to confirm the invitation. So I think Quinn, in that same place where you requested to speak, you should see something that now says like join stage or something like that.
Uh-oh. It looks like he's having some technical difficulties.
There it is.
There
we
we go. Look at us all up here with our snazzy profile pictures.
Yeah. So how's my audio doing?
Pretty good. I can hear you loud and clear.
The problem was I had ground control broken out into a separate window.
Ah, some pop-out
Yeah.
window, yeah.
Yeah, right on. All right. Well, we're getting there. I'm excited to be here. I was excited to go to the Mars Society conference. Trying to share right now. Let's see. More technical difficulties.
Par for the course.
Yeah, no kidding. I think what's happening now is it's not happy with I have my text large on the screen and I can't even see the OK button. Kind of a
Oh,
bummer. This one more time. What I could do is just send the slides to Ryan or Mitchie.
Either way it works.
yeah, send it over Ryan's way. I can't share right now.
Well, what an experiment we've done here. I can just talk to you guys. I think that the slides actually, um, there's only two things we really need to show. And one of them is actually on Gravity Lab's website. So I can just send that over to Ryan, hopefully at that point. Okay. So my name is Quinn Morley. I work in the space industry. I started a space company in 2020. And so I was already booked up for the Mars Society convention before I joined MoonDAO. And since Pablo and Ryan, Mitchie weren't going, I was invited to go sort of think about things at the conference in a MoonDAO context, and that's what I did. It was a great time, actually. I was really surprised. The downside was I got COVID, so there's that. So hopefully my voice is all right. I'm feeling pretty good today, but still, that's definitely been a thing this week. So the Mars Society, let's talk about the Mars Society. They share a lot with MoonDAO because inherently they're both organizations that envision a multi-planetary future. And the thing is, though, the Mars Society historically has wanted to colonize Mars before we colonize the moon. And there used to be sort of a sticking point in the community about this. But it's interesting with the Starship now, with NASA funding Starship for lunar landings, all of a sudden there's this cooperation between Mars people and Moon people. And so that's kind of a new golden era where we all want this multiplanetary future. So that's exciting. And the Mars Society really is a nexus of enabling science and technology. Basically, what you have happen is people from all over the world that work in research and technology and stuff that are passionate about Mars, they sort of come together, get on an airplane, and come to this conference. And so even though the society itself doesn't necessarily fund breakthroughs, they're working on that now, right? Everybody that's working on this in their careers, in their life, they all come together and share at the Mars Society. And they're also really heavy on education and outreach stuff. They've got free curriculum they put on the internet for high school teachers. And I think that we have some stuff to learn about the way they interact with educational institutions. But the other thing is they don't make any revenue from that. And so I think that one of the things holding them back now is they're sort of a little bit light on revenue, and it limits what they can do with their technology goals. So when I was there at the conference, the first day, Pete Warden talked, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him, unfortunately. He like ran out of the room as soon as he was done talking. He runs Breakthrough Initiatives, which is a very rich venture capital sort of technology enabling organization. They funded the Breakthrough Starshot initiative, which was supposed to look at sending light, like 1 gram order spacecraft to the next star system with lasers powering light sails, that sort of a thing. They do really high risk stuff like that. It takes a lot of money to put into practice. And while I was listening to him, so here I'm at this Mars conference, right? And he starts talking about how he thinks there could be subsurface life on Ceres, which is a dwarf planet in the asteroid belt. And I'm like, what is going on here? I'm at a Mars conference, right? And I actually I've been working on looking at colonizing Ceres as sort of a jumping off point to extract resources from the whole asteroid belt. And then while we're setting up our colony in like a big glass dome on Ceres, we could extract resources using some drilling robots I developed for Mars a few years ago. And so already at this conference, the first talk, I'm already kind of getting MoonDAO vibes, right? And if you hadn't heard about borebots before, that's what I call my drilling technology we developed a few years ago. It's sort of on pause right now, but I will say we're not pausing it from MoonDAO. It might look like that. It's in the ideation thread. There's a thread called the Borbots Moon Remix Challenge. And it looks like it's on pause there, but what we're actually doing is we're going to kick that off in the youth program, I think. Because one of the things when we're ideating through the youth program, we need to have ways to do like hackathons and stuff. We also need to find tie-ins to hardware. And so if we do hardware challenges, like pulling from, worldwide groups of high school students, having them hack locally and then compete against each other and sort of see who wins prize money or something, that might be one approach for doing hardware hacking. So we're thinking about using the Borbots Moon Remix Challenge actually to kick that off when we're ready. And that's probably going to be something like next summer or something. So we haven't forgot about it, but it is in the ideation thread if you want to go check it out. And then so after lunch on the first day, it was my turn to talk. And this is sort of why I signed up for the conference. My company's teamed up with some other companies, and we developed a way to sterilize Mars samples in the sample return capsule when you return them to Earth. And the reason why this is important is because Mars isn't quite as dead as the moon, right? Actually, there's liquid water in places. There's ice that could have potentially like melted areas of the ice where life could live in. And there just could be life blowing around in the dust storms on Mars. We really can't say for sure. We think it's unlikely, but people are worried about having one of those science fiction movie things happen where you bring life back from their planet and it kills everybody on Earth or whatever. And so that's sort of one way to look at it. But there's another way, which if you think about taking a slide of something from a microscope and looking at it, you don't want to have a bunch of contamination from, from humans, from our technology in this rock you're examining. And so that's another way to deal with this, is just we're trying to just use hygiene and proper science to keep our samples nice and sterilized. And we actually proposed putting around 30 grams of cesium-137 into the sample container. And that, because of the 3-year trip from Mars, they're using an electric propulsion. So it takes 3 years just to orbit Mars and get out of the gravity well. That's enough time with such little isotope actually get a really high radiation dose. And we can say to a really high factor of certainty that everything's going to be dead in there. And we're currently trying to get NASA funding for that. So that's kind of why I'm going around talking about it. And if you're curious about that, you can actually go to savemsr.com. We've got some resources up, including copies of our proposals. I think it's kind of fun when you do a proposal to just toss it on the website, let people see actually what we're doing. And that sort of brings us to the main event of the conference. Not everybody may be aware of this, but last year at the conference, they announced this Mars Technology Institute. And this is sort of, in a way, kind of what MoonDAO thinks about doing, where we have to do all this stuff. We have to do it ourselves, right? We have to develop technology, find astronauts, figure out how to build our own lunar colony. Well, the Mars Technology Institute, what they basically, when they started this, the thesis was that a Mars colony is going to have the most invention out of like any human community ever. And it's because things are life or death, right? You're like an inch from the habitat wall keeps you from, the cold, dead surface of Mars, right? And that constraint is going to make you innovate more than any other group of humans. And so the idea with the Mars Technology Institute is, what if we take those Mars problems and try and solve them now on Earth, like ahead of time, before we go? Can we actually capture a slice of that innovation potential? And can they become the most innovative organization on the planet? And the core idea that kind of led to this was, if you think about food production, this was Robert Zubrin's first idea, I think, for this. If you solve the problem of how to make food for a Mars colony, you could accidentally end world hunger. And then perhaps when you sell to first world nations, like let's say you can reduce the cost of like imitation crab, and all of a sudden you take over the whole seafood industry because you've got this cheaper process to raise fish and stuff. You could potentially make billions of dollars in the first world while ending world hunger in the third world. And so that's sort of what underpinned this endeavor. Now, they wanted to get seed money from crowdfunding, sort of like MoonDAO did, right? And so this was exciting last year. I remember this campaign. I threw $100 in. I was thinking about throwing a couple thousand in, but things were tough at the time. And so at this conference, Robert Zubrin announced the results of that crowdfunding campaign. A lot of us were really interested in this. And in the end, they raised $150,000. And so for me, this was sort of like a hush in the room. This is not what I expected. I was thinking $100 million, right? Now there's some positives here. I'm a little disappointed still, I got to say. They were unable to get, the reason why, is they weren't able to get the patent for this food process they wanted to monetize. And basically the idea is to take either methane or methanol from the atmosphere on Mars, convert it into some sort of protein algae slurry with a chemical biological reaction, and then feed it to fish. And then you can have, with the fish, you can either make food products from that, or you can feed it to chickens or whatever. Now they found out somebody was already doing this in China, and so they couldn't patent it. And that means they couldn't go after the venture capital money they wanted to get. So they're stuck with this 150,000. That's all they've got. And now what they're going to do with this is they're going to do a worldwide challenge to see if somebody can come up with a better process to produce food than the one they encountered in China. And this is actually something MoonDAO could participate in, theoretically. You don't have to do the actual lab work to compete, it sounds like, but they want to see that key claims have been tested. But I do think later when they announce this challenge, we can throw it in ideation and see if it's a good fit for us. Obviously, we don't know what it's going to look like, but we have a common problem here where we need to be able to have food for the moon. So I think that might be an interesting thing for us to throw our hat in there and see if we can do better than everyone else. So the three pillars of the Mars Technology Institute, as I see it, is this biotech and food pillar, right, that I just talked about. And then they've got robotics and artificial intelligence. The robotics pillar has really cool goals, but it's kind of off to a slow start. Basically, they didn't get enough money to set up a laboratory, and so they have people working on it sort of in different areas of the country. And I do see some vision there. They want to have swarming robotics to do science on the surface and perhaps in caves. They want to have sort of a sidekick robot that can be your engineering consultant and also perhaps help you with simple tasks and stuff. And then it goes to their AI division, which is probably where they've gotten the most done so far. Kind of a surprise there, but they have this Athena LLM that's running on the Microsoft Azure cloud platform. And it's an LLM with a RAG, and they're actually feeding the RAG from stuff that society has, which is interesting. They're kind of uniquely positioned because, first of all, Robert Zubrin's written like 20 books. And then they have this old website from like 1993 called marspapers.org that almost no one, I bet you everybody in the audience has never heard of that before. And they have thousands of papers people have submitted to the society over the years just sitting in this archive. So they've already got all this stuff before they pick up the phone to call people and ask, can we use your copyrighted material to train our engineering consultant? And I think that that's actually one of their advantages. They can convince people to help them through altruism in a really interesting way. It's one of the special things about the Mars Society. They do a lot of work through volunteer labor and stuff. And so when they pick up the phone and call an author and ask for their entire book collection to throw it in the RAG, they're probably going to get a yes for that. So actually it does position them to be an engineering AI leader. And if you want to, I actually recommend you read about this. Alan Boyle wrote a great article in GeekWire. You can just search GeekWire Mars Society, or you can search Mars Society Robotics, and it comes right up. It came out 3 days ago. And he's much more optimistic about this than I am. So I think it's really good to go read his article. I literally could not get over the disappointment of the crowdfunding campaign, so I wasn't able to really see the big picture like he did. So he did a really good job summing that up. I would encourage everybody to go read that. Again, that's in GeekWire. All right, so now I want to talk about Anna Wadwa's mice talk. Okay, she was involved in an experiment where the Japanese Space Agency sent mice to the space station, and they had them live in centrifuges where they experienced artificial gravity for I think about a month. And this is a really important study. I think that my whole life I've thought that life on Mars would be fine. Like humans living on Mars, as long as you solve the technology challenges, we wouldn't have the same disadvantages that people face in zero gravity. I think that most people are aware that astronauts on the space station, when you like Scott Kelly stayed there for a whole year during the twin study when his brother was on the ground, and they found all these physiological changes that happened to Scott that didn't happen to Mark. And most people are kind of a little bit aware that astronauts lose bone density in space and stuff. But when we say that, we're talking 6 months or a year, or sometimes even 3 months. And so when you come back and you have all this whole rehabilitation stuff you have to go through just because you were gone for 6 months, that's kind of significant. And then if you think about living on the moon for the rest of your life or something, we have to understand this. And it turns out from Anna's talk that Martian gravity does not mitigate those effects strong enough. And actually, it sounds like people who live on Mars may have to have other either medical interventions or engineering interventions where perhaps they sleep in a centrifuge and this stresses their skeleton out while they're sleeping. Because right now, Mars gravity does not, with this mice study, does not mitigate these things enough. The mice still had increased fat mass, they lost muscle, they lost bone density. And one of the interesting conclusions was that 1G in the centrifuge didn't actually mitigate the bone loss. So living in 1G of fake gravity, they still lost bone mass, which was really unexpected. But what we think is going on there is that the study wasn't quite long enough and didn't have enough mice in it. The data didn't really look that clean. So this really calls, we need to know if we can solve this artificial gravity or else we're in trouble, right? So we need to have more data, more experiments done on mice, hopefully for a longer duration. And the next talk really dovetailed with this nicely. It's a guy that lives in Seattle. I'm actually from Seattle, so I didn't have to fly to this conference. I just got in my car every day and sat in traffic and paid $8 for parking. So it wasn't that bad for me. Grant Bonin runs Gravity Lab, and they build artificial gravity satellites that can do Martian gravity, lunar gravity, or even what they call hypergravity, which I don't really know what you would do with that. And they're microsat platforms that you just launch, excuse me, just launch on SpaceX rideshare missions, okay? So you don't have to worry about going to the space station. You just literally launch on a rideshare, and you can do your experiment in space with their, and this is where I'm going to send Ryan the link because I want you guys to be able to, Ryan, perhaps you could just go to gravitylab.com. I think that's what it is.
Pablo's sharing the page right now.
Okay, cool.
Sharing.
Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna go stick my head back in my slides. So yeah, so let's see.
Brandon, do you wanna just share the slides and I can share my screen here if your screen isn't working?
Yeah, the file was too big to drop in Discord, so
Yeah, okay. You can email it
it's
to me
okay.
or whatever's easiest. Okay.
Yeah, I could potentially hit share and just drop that in there to you.
Whatever's easiest. No worries. Don't mean
There
to
is
interrupt
one
the
more
flow.
cool video that was actually, there is one more cool video that was really hard to find. So let me see if I can. Nope, I think my VPN's causing problems too. We really should have done a practice run, but hey, that's good. I'm helping you guys work out the kinks, right? It's sort of been a theme since I joined the DAO, I guess. So, Gravity Lab. So yeah, that platform has a 100-kilogram payload, and what you're seeing there with the screen, you're seeing a 20-meter boom. It's a rigid boom, and it actually unfurls kind of like a tape measure extends. And you know how a tape measure is sort of rigid for 5 or 10 feet before it starts to have problems. Well, this type of boom actually, they bend that metal as it deploys into a circle, so it can't buckle like a tape measure can. And that's why they have this rigid 20-meter boom that they can actually retract, extend, and retract. And at 4 RPMs, which is what you're seeing on the screen, it does lunar gravity. So that's sort of our use case shown right on their website when you check it out. Now, after I saw this talk, okay, my brain was still going with the mice thing. And I was in the back, kind of sitting next to James Burke, who is the executive director of the Mars Society. And we clearly saw the need for more higher fidelity artificial gravity data on mice, okay? So I went up to him and I said, James, do you want to team up with MoonDAO, and why don't we build a multi-generational mouse experiment and fly on a Gravity Lab satellite instead of doing on this small centrifuge on the space station? Why don't we do this right and actually breed mice in space and raise them to maturity and then return them to Earth and figure out the scale of this problem, get some good data on it. And the goal was to crowdfund it, a 12-week mouse study on the Gravity Lab platform. And his answer was, let's do it. Basically, hell yes. And so anyways, you can see in the ideation thread, in the ideation forum, there's a thread for this multi-generational mouse study. And I recommend you go in there and take a look at it and look at the Google Doc. You know, basically red team it, shred it, tell us what you do like about it, what you don't like about it. Tell us if we're crazy, because it looks to me like we need to solve this if we want to have a lunar colony, because inherently a lunar colony means living in the colony. You know, maybe for NASA, they're not worried about it because they're calling it lunar permanence, but they're going to land astronauts there for a month and it's going to sit there empty until the next group of astronauts come. Is that actually permanence? I don't think that's what MoonDAO thinks permanence is, right? So we're going to have to figure this out, and the Mars Society is in the same boat. So it's kind of interesting to think about. Now the next one, I don't know how hopefully this video, if I can just save this and send it to Pablo really quick. I'll talk about the company, but it's a company called Genoplant, and their website, I don't think has this one. . Anyways, Genoplant, they actually won Shark Tank with an idea to terraform Mars, which, first of all, I can't believe that idea won. And then Shark Tank didn't pay them, which I've never even heard of that. But they didn't give up though. They ended up actually doing a crowdfunding campaign and then selling shares in their company as crypto tokens. And they were actually successful enough in doing that they've still got a viable company. And right now they're doing CubeSats in space. They grow plants in CubeSats in space. And so I approached the guy. I was like, "Hey, I love what you guys are doing." And he asked for students, and I was like, "Hey, we're trying to start this MoonDAO Youth Initiative." And he goes, "Oh my gosh, I can give you guys like 7.3 grams on the next payload." And in my mind, I just talked to James about, probably crowdfunding $2 or $3 million for this multi-generational mouse study. We could just have a youth design payload in a corner of that satellite to see if we can grow plants in lunar gravity, in lunar regolith, in lunar gravity, in a little CubeSat on this Gravity Lab platform. We're doing the 12-week mice experiment. So to me, this is organic, where this just all was happening. It felt like it was just washing over me, happening around me as we're there. So it was a pretty great experience. And hopefully Pablo got my DM.
I did get it, but I don't really know how to play it on
Okay.
the other screen because it's embedded into Discord. But we can share it after.
Yeah, I might be able to drop it in chat actually. Nope. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything. The only other thing is this Genoplant terraforming idea is pretty crazy. That's what the video is. We're talking about what they want to do is with Starship, they want to deploy hundreds of these little rocket-looking things out of Starship that crash land into Mars. And it turns out they're actually drills. And they use the Martian atmosphere to start spinning really, really, really fast as a way to slow down their descent. And then they cram into the planet with all this angular momentum from spinning and drill into the crust and get stuck there. And then the roots of the tree in this rocket looking thing, the roots actually grow out through the drill bit. And so this is a way to like remotely plant trees on Mars. And they think that over the course of 5 or 10 years, they could even get this terraforming thing started simply from dropping stuff from space. It's one of the most incredible ideas I've ever seen. Exactly. Yes, that's all I've got for you guys. It was a great conference. Really glad I went, even though I got COVID. It hasn't been bad. It's funny because I got it from Robert Zubrin himself. So who needs an autograph when you can catch a disease from somebody, I guess.
That's yeah, way better than an autograph. Something you'll keep forever.
Hopefully not long COVID, but at least this week I'm thinking of him. All right, thanks guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Quinn. If you guys don't mind, I can give my updates first on projects because I got double booked and I already canceled on someone. So I need to jump out here. But I can just quickly give my project updates. That was awesome, Quinn. Yeah, I'm glad we were able to make it work with the me googling stuff in the background. But yeah, I think that it's awesome what they're doing over at the Mars Society, and really excited to get them up and running on the Citizens and Teams platform. I think that there's a ton of opportunities for collaboration. So yeah, so I've got 2 projects to update on. One is the Citizens and Teams. So I kind of mentioned this already, but we are getting that up and running. So yeah, we started meeting with the whole team, doing stand-ups, kind of getting the plan together. Our goal is 10 entities, 25 citizens by the end of August. So right around the time of Iman's launch. And on the MOONEY front, MOONEY distribution front, nothing really to update there. But yeah, still hoping to wrap up that project by the end of the quarter. So yep, that's it on my end. And unfortunately, I do have to drop. But yeah, please keep going. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you, Pablo. Yeah, so with that, I guess we can just continue with our roundtable updates here. I guess, Ryan, do you want to Well, actually, we can get. I don't know why I have you on here. I was supposed to be Dr. Rahman.
Busy. I don't know if he's available to jump up here. There we go.
There he
Hey,
is.
how's it going, guys? Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm in clinic, but I have a break. Things continue to move forward. I think we're up to 23 or 24 aired kind of individual interviews, either in print, podcast, or on the news. I think another one is going to come out this evening on our local news channel. I have two other podcasts kind of set up for August into September, and we continue to reach out to groups and people to see if we can get some more press. Obviously, I think once the flight happens, maybe we'll circle back with some of these people to do some other discussions. Otherwise, we are continuing with on-site and off-site planning for viewing the launch. The date hasn't been announced yet. I'm working on finalizing payload bag, including potential zero-G indicators like a MoonDAO flag, which we're hoping we can do and have on the actual ship. I think that is the gist. It's more of the same, but it continues to be busy.
Very cool. It's getting real exciting as we get so close. I'm literally like dreaming about rockets at night now.
Yes, I'm very excited, as you can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm excited, imagine how excited you are.
But yeah, we keep waiting for Blue Origin to announce the date, so they haven't done that yet.
Well, it shouldn't be too much longer.
Yeah.
But cool. Thank you very much for the updates.
Yep.
We won't take you too long since you're at work, but yeah, thank you very much. And I guess that leaves just me for updates. So regarding the summer internship program. So here we are at the end of the summer. We still haven't even really kicked it off. And I think a large part of that is due to the risks that we outlined in the proposal itself. I think, we basically have been putting in a lot of work with the citizen and team stuff. And that ended up really taking priority over this. However, we do still have a lot of great candidates and people who submitted applications to that, and we don't want to just throw that away. And so, what we're thinking is, for the moment, we may put this project just on a tentative hold, but then start it up again in September when we have more availability and we can basically do like a fall internship program. So essentially, that's where we are at the moment. Yeah, it'll just be tentatively put on hold for a little bit, but hopefully we can bring it back and do it stronger and better and really get some value out of all of these applicants that we had who were very interested in it. So yeah, that's basically the only updates there, and that brings us to the open floor. So I actually have something that I would like to draw people's attention to just briefly. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but as I mentioned last week during the elections, uh, that I basically have, or I've been working on a proposal that kind of sets the stage for what would be my long-term vision for MoonDAO. And that is now in ideation. So I'm going to post a little link to it here. And I just wanted to send a quick call out. And if anyone wants to engage on like the details, technical details, or just ideas about how these agents would behave and the things that they can do, I would really love to hear questions or concerns as well. I also have deep concerns that have driven me in this project, and so yeah, I've thought very deeply about it, and I'd like to share some of my research and insights with the community. So yeah, that's all I'll say about that. I don't know, Ryan, if you have anything you'd like to follow up on, or Also, if anyone in the audience has anything, just raise your hand and we'll bring you on up.
Just wanted to give a quick shout out. The MoonDAO Makerspace is up for like matching funds in that artisan voting block. I just shared the link here in the ground control channel. There's literally about 15 minutes left to vote on it. It looks like it's in the curation threshold, but yeah, if anybody wants to give a quick show of support to the Makerspace, hopefully get them some additional operating funds, that would be great.
Cool. You said there's just like 15 minutes left?
Yeah, literally.
Oh, geez, we'll have to move quick.
Okay.
I guess, well, if there aren't any other updates, we can wrap it up here and get people. Oh, here we go. Manuel's coming up. But here we go. Hey, Manuel.
guys. Hey, it's me. Hope you can hear me loud and clear. I'm
We can.
right now, so I hope yeah, everything's fine also with the connection. Yeah, I just want to share some updates yeah, regarding this pop-up city in Georgia, where we are also organizing some cool space panels, space presentations during the space acceleration track. So for me, I'm gonna fly to Georgia probably on yeah, most likely on a Saturday night, and then arrive on Sunday morning around 6 a.m. And right now in Georgia, there are quite some cool people. For example, Rod, he was also part of. Yeah, Rod was also part of MoonDAO as part of the Space Engineering Guild last year, leading this effort. And there's also one guy called Matej, who's doing a cool project called Space Coin. So maybe, yeah, I can also introduce him to the great stuff that the MoonDAO community is pushing forward. And yeah, for sure, Grant Blaisdell. Yeah, I see also Titan and Eman here. I think you also know already know Grant. And also, yeah, great people regarding astrobio experiments under 0 G and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully I can bring more people also to our community. Super excited about that. I will definitely also shill and present yeah, MoonDAO whenever possible. And yeah, just super excited about the election. Also check out the posts with the timestamps with my main statements in our debate. Yeah, would be good to have some of the timestamps for the most exciting parts, also for you, Ryan or Michi, so that our members can just quickly check out the most important statements. And yeah, other than that, super excited for you, Iman, that you go up in space. So yeah, I think we will all know, and yeah, best of luck and enjoy the time. And yeah, other than that, guys, I would say have a great week and have a great end of the week. And yeah, all the best of luck and see you soon. Yeah, have a great time.
Thank you very much, Manuel. Yeah, thank you everyone in the audience as well for being here this week. Hope to see you again next week at the same time. And yeah, go vote on the Artisan Fund before it closes. But yeah, have a good one, everyone.
Cool. Sure.
All right, thanks. Goodbye, guys.
And
Welcome to MoonDAO, a revolutionary governance model and mission-oriented community that's reshaping collaboration in the space industry. Our mission is to create a self-sustaining, self-governing settlement on the Moon to act as a launch point into the cosmos. MoonDAO is governed like a nation, with its own economy, constitution, voting system, treasury, elections, and senate, but internet native, and so without the limitations of geography. In 2022, we sent our first member to space, showcasing our model's capacity for real-world impact. Now, we're implementing key solutions for global collaboration in the space industry. We offer a borderless, permissionless platform that enables everyday people to participate in the future of space development and exploration. Be part of our lunar legacy and join the MoonDAO movement today.